Ada Thompson stepped out of the small cafe, wiping her hands on her apron just as the morning sun began to warm the pavement. Her shoulders slumped from the early shift, but she felt a small sense of pride. Please like and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. The quiet street was slowly coming alive. As she took a deep breath, something caught her eye. A young boy sitting alone on the curb. His shoulders shook with quiet sobs, and next to him was a bent-up bicycle with its chain dangling loose. Ada didn't hesitate. She crossed the street, her footsteps quick. "Hey there, you okay?" she asked softly. The boy looked up, cheeks streaked with tears, and nodded, clearly embarrassed. His bike was a mess, the chain off, the handlebars crooked. Ada's coffee-stained apron brushed the ground as she knelt beside him. "Let me help, all right?" she said. He nodded again, sniffling. Ada pushed up her sleeves and got to work. Her fingers, stiff from hours of making coffee and scrubbing counters, found their rhythm as she adjusted the chain and realigned the bent handlebars. "You know," she said with a kind smile, "I've got a son about your age. I know how important bikes are. They make you feel free, don't they?" The boy's eyes lit up with a mixture of relief and admiration. "Thanks, lady," he said quietly. Ada gave the handlebars one final tug, tested the brakes, and stood up. "All set, champ," she said, wiping grease on her apron. The boy nodded, swinging one leg over the bike, still sniffling but clearly grateful. She winked at him. "Try not to crash into any more curbs, okay?" The boy chuckled, and then he was gone, pedaling away into the brightening morning. Across the street, a man with a coffee cup sat outside the neighborhood bookstore, watching the whole scene unfold. He was quiet, unnoticed. With a thoughtful expression, he pulled out his phone and started recording. It wasn't the bike or the boy that held his attention, it was Ada. The way she gave her time, without asking for anything in return, moved something deep inside him. Ada didn't notice him. She dusted off her apron and headed back inside the cafe. Her hands still smelled like grease, but her heart felt light. It was just a small moment. Nothing big, just doing the right thing. She clocked out later that morning, humming softly to herself, thinking nothing of it. The street was quiet again. The boy was gone. Her shift had ended. Life went on. The next morning, Ada walked into work with a smile. She greeted a coworker, tied her apron, and headed toward the counter. But something felt off. Her manager, Mr. Paulson, stood near the office door, arms folded. "Ada," he said firmly, "we need to talk." She blinked in confusion. "Sure, is something wrong?" He didn't answer, just walked into the office and motioned for her to follow. Inside the cramped office, the air felt heavy. Mr. Paulson didn't waste time. "You left the front counter unattended yesterday. Nearly 5 minutes. You know that's against policy." Ada frowned. There was a kid outside. His bike was broken. He was crying. "I just wanted to help." She tried to keep her voice calm. "I made sure no one else was in the store." His face didn't change. "That's not the point," he said. "Company policy is clear. We can't risk the register being left open. It's about security." Ada's throat tightened. "I've never been late. Never missed a shift. I've given this place everything I have." Her voice cracked, but she steadied herself. "Please, I really need this job." She looked at him with pleading eyes, but he was already shaking his head. "I'm sorry, Ada," Mr. Paulson said, sliding a small envelope across the desk. "This is your final paycheck." Her heart dropped. She stared at it for a moment before slowly reaching out. The edges felt sharp in her hand. She left the office in a daze, her feet heavy. As the bell over the cafe door rang out behind her, it felt like the end of something. She didn't say goodbye. Ada walked home in silence, her coat pulled tight against the chill. Her mind spun in circles, replaying everything. Her choice to help, the boy's tears, Mr. Paulson's flat tone. What had felt right yesterday now felt like a terrible mistake. She had risked her job for a stranger. She had bet everything on kindness, and lost. At home, the small apartment greeted her with silence. Her son, 7-year-old Toby, was at school. The living room was clean but tired, second-hand furniture, peeling wallpaper, a stack of unpaid bills on the table. Ada sank into the couch and let her body fold in. Her hands trembled. Rent was due in a week. There was barely enough in her account for groceries. That evening, she forced herself to eat something. A half bowl of cereal sat untouched on the coffee table. Toby returned from school with his usual energy, showing her a crayon drawing of a rocket. "I made it for you, Mama," he said proudly. Ada hugged him tightly, fighting back tears. "It's perfect," she whispered. "You're perfect." After putting Toby to bed, Ada stared at her phone. Her thumb hovered over the screen. Maybe she could sell it, get a little cash, or maybe she could call someone, anyone. But pride and shame sat heavy on her shoulders. She turned off the lights and curled up on the couch, unsure how she'd face the morning. Then, at 8:47 p.m., her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her heart jumped. She almost ignored it, but something instinct maybe made her swipe to answer. "Hello," she said cautiously. A calm, steady voice came through. "Hi, is this Ada Thompson?" She sat up straighter. "Yes, who's this?" The voice was gentle. "My name is Malik Grant. You don't know me, but I know you." Ada frowned. "I'm sorry, what?" Malik chuckled lightly. "I know this sounds strange, but yesterday outside the cafe, you helped a little boy fix his bike. I saw it. A few of us did. I recorded a video. It's been going around." Ada's mouth went dry. "What video?" she asked quietly. "You didn't even know anyone was watching," he said. "But your kindness, it shook something in all of us." Ada was still trying to process his words. "Look, I'm not sure what this is about," she began, unsure whether to be grateful or worried. Malik spoke again, calmly. "I promise this isn't a joke, and I know you've had a rough day, but I need you to do something for me right now." Ada stayed silent. "Go to your front door." Ada hesitated. The line buzzed softly. She stared at the door across the room. "Why?" she asked. "Because we're here," Malik said. Her breath caught. Carefully, she stood, crossing the room with slow, uncertain steps. Her hand reached for the doorknob. Heart pounding, she opened it and froze. Standing outside her apartment were 17 strangers. They stood shoulder to shoulder, illuminated by the hallway light. Some held envelopes, others wore soft smiles. A woman with a camera, a man in a tailored coat, a young guy in a hoodie holding a skateboard. "Hi," one of them said warmly. "I'm Lisa. I run a non-profit for single parents." "Marco," said another holding a sketchbook. "I fix bikes. Used to be my hustle." Ada's grip tightened on the doorknob. Her eyes flicked from one stranger to the next. "I'm Jenna," a third woman said. "Someone once helped me when I was down. Now I pay it forward." They stepped forward gently one at a time. Then Malik appeared. Tall, calm, kind eyes. "You reminded us what it means to care without expecting anything. That matters," he said. "That changed everything." Malik reached into his coat and pulled out a folded piece of paper. "We brought something for you," he said. "Not charity. Gratitude." He handed her the check. Ada opened it slowly. Her breath caught. The amount made her knees weak. Before she could speak, Lisa stepped forward, pressing an envelope into her hand. Then Marco. Then Jenna. One by one, each stranger came forward with something. Money, contacts, ideas, encouragement. 17 in total. Ada held the envelopes like fragile glass. Her eyes welled with tears as she looked at the faces before her. People from all walks of life, drawn together by one small moment. "I don't understand," she whispered. Malik smiled. "We all had someone who showed up for us once when we were low. Now it's your turn. Use this to rise. Build something. You already started." For a moment, Ada couldn't speak. Her voice broke as she said, I don't know how to thank you. Jenna stepped forward and took her hand. You already did. When you helped that boy, you reminded all of us to be better. A few of them hugged her before they quietly left, fading down the hallway like a dream. Ada closed the door, leaned against it, and sobbed. Not out of pain, but from a joy so overwhelming it shook her. Months passed. A warm breeze drifted through the wide windows of a cozy little workshop in the heart of the city. Sunlight bounced off rows of children's bicycles. Red, blue, yellow, lined up like a rainbow. The shop buzzed with life. Laughter echoed from the sidewalk outside, where kids zipped in circles on newly fixed bikes. Inside, a wooden sign hung proudly above the counter. Kindness is always worth it. Ada knelt beside a young girl, showing her how to tighten a bolt. That's it, she said gently, handing the wrench. You're stronger than you think. The girl smiled, proud of herself. The shop wasn't just a place for repairs. It was a haven, a learning space, a home. Crayon drawings decorated the walls. A coffee corner sat near the back with a sign, free for tired mamas. Toby burst through the side door, backpack slung over one shoulder. Mama, he called out, running into her arms. He was taller now, more confident. Ada held him close, her heart nearly bursting. Guess what, he said. A kid at school said you're famous. Said you're the lady from the bike video. Ada laughed softly. Famous for fixing chains. Who would have thought? As the sun dipped lower, casting golden light across the floor, Ada stood near the entrance of the shop and looked out. People passed by waving. Some came in with bikes. Others just came in to talk. And all of it, every single moment, had started with a small choice. A broken bike. A crying boy. A decision to care. She turned the sign on the door to closed and flipped off the lights. Toby held her hand as they walked home together. Mama, he said, do you think kindness really changes things? Ada looked down at him, smiling through tears. It already did. Behind them, the little bike shop glowed softly in the night, like a lighthouse for the tired and the hopeful. Because sometimes the smallest acts open the biggest doors, and kindness never goes unnoticed. Like and subscribe for more contents like this, and let us know where you are watching from under the comment section. Weeks later, Ada was invited to speak at a local community event. The hall was modest, filled with folding chairs and warm faces. She stood behind the podium, nerves fluttering in her chest. I'm not used to microphones, she said with a small laugh. I'm a bike fixer, a single mom. I used to make coffee for a living. But one day I stopped for a crying boy, and somehow everything changed. The room was silent, listening. She looked out over the crowd and spotted Lisa and Marco near the back, giving her encouraging nods. I didn't fix that bike to be seen, Ada continued. I did it because I knew what it felt like to be helpless and small. I didn't expect anything. I just wanted to make someone feel less alone. Her voice grew stronger, but what I learned is kindness doesn't disappear. It grows, it spreads, and sometimes it finds its way back to you. After the event, people lined up to thank her. A man in a construction vest said, You made me call my mom. First time in years. A teen girl hugged her and whispered, I want to be like you. Ada took it all in, humbled and grateful. She realized then that her story had become more than hers. It was now a torch, lighting the path for others to believe in small actions, in unseen goodness. Back at the shop, Ada began hosting Saturday bike clinics. Parents and kids filled the space. She taught kids how to fix flats and adjust brakes, but she also listened to their stories, their worries, their laughter. Sometimes they left with more than a working bike. They left with hope. The shop's name had become a quiet symbol of second chances. People now called it the Fix. One afternoon, Malik stopped by. He leaned on the counter, sipping coffee from the same corner he'd helped build. You've built something beautiful, he said. Ada smiled. We built it. You and everyone else who believed in me. They looked around at the bustling room, the smell of oil and laughter in the air. You know, he said, you should think about opening another branch. Ada raised an eyebrow. One miracle at a time, Malik. Later that night, after closing, Ada sat alone in the shop, her journal open on the counter. She flipped to a clean page and wrote one act of kindness, one broken bike, one choice. She paused, then underlined, that's where everything begins. Her heart felt full, not with money or success, but with meaning. Real, earned, undeniable meaning. For the first time in a long time, she felt steady. As the moonlight spilled across the shop floor, Ada rose and walked toward the front window. She watched as a boy rode past on a squeaky bike, laughing with his friends. She smiled. Bring that one in tomorrow, she whispered, already planning how she'd teach him to fix it himself. Because in her world now, kindness wasn't just a one-time thing. It was the beginning of everything. Like and subscribe to my channel for more contents like this, and let us know where you are watching from under the comment section.